We are back now with PolitiFact's Amy Sherman, getting the facts on the claims made by the major candidates in this race. And we're going to turn out to former President Trump. He was here in New Hampshire a lot this week. He's been touting essentially a version of the line we're about to play at all of his rallies, that Democrats and liberals are going to, quote, infiltrate the Republican primary in our state. Here's what he was saying recently.
Nikki Haley, in particular, is counting on the Democrats and liberals to infiltrate your Republican primary. You know that. That's what's happening. You have a group of people coming in that are not Republicans, and it's artificially boosting her numbers here.
Okay, so PolitiFact found this claim to be misleading, and I want to underscore before we chat about this right off the bat, registered Democrats cannot vote in New Hampshire's Republican primary. That said, there is a bit more of nuance to the rest of this conversation about what he may have been referring to here, right?
Correct. If someone was a Democratic voter, they would have had to change their registration to Republican in October. However, Trump might have been alluding to what's called undeclared voters in New Hampshire. These are voters who are essentially independent, don't want to be registered as a Democrat or Republican. Undeclared voters can show up on Election Day at the polls and vote. This is allowed in state law. Trump uses the word infiltrate as if it's something nefarious, and it's really not. It's been going on for many years.
Yeah, that is the New Hampshire system. All right, thank you for clarifying that. And let's turn real quick to Nikki Haley if we can. She's been ratcheting up the rhetoric recently toward the frontrunner, former President Trump. She just made this claim this week about Trump wanting to raise the gas tax when he was in office.
He proposed when he was president, he wanted to raise the gas tax up 25 cents. Those are things he needs to answer for. Oh, that's right, he won't get on a debate stage.
Okay, so PolitiFact found this claim by Haley was mostly false. What led to that rating?
We found some evidence that Trump may have floated the idea of raising the gas tax or was said to have floated the idea. However, Haley's comments make it sound like it was a formal proposal. We found no evidence of that. In 2017, Trump told a Bloomberg reporter that he was considering raising the gas tax, which would be used to repair roads or bridges. In 2018, a Democratic lawmaker said that Trump endorsed the idea, but that was at a closed-door meeting, and other people refuted that. We just found no evidence that he ever formally proposed the idea.
All right, getting the facts as always. Amy Sherman, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And after all of the campaigning finally wraps up, it is New Hampshire voters who will make the very important decision come primary day. The Red Arrow Diner, that's historically a very popular spot for the candidates to stop by and visit. And among people stopping in for a meal there at the Nashua location this morning, they were first-time voters, and some were seasoned Election Day veterans too.
It's something that I've been waiting to do for past 18 years of my life, so I guess I'm pretty ready for it.
Vote Trump. That's my thoughts. Vote Trump. We need true leadership, and we're lacking leadership. We don't have leadership in this country anymore.
Voters also said that in the age of the internet and social media, the amount of information that is available can make the decision even harder. But if you still need to check on where your voting location is, you can find a link to the Secretary of State's website right over on WMUR.com. And you can search for your polling place and view your sample ballot online so that you are prepared and you can be ready with a plan to vote on primary day.
And in addition to all of our regular news coverage, you can join us tomorrow night at 10 for the final hours. This is 10 p.m. tomorrow night. We will stay on air as the first votes are cast at midnight Tuesday in Dixville Notch. And of course, we're going to be on air all night long on Tuesday as the primary results come in. Remember, you can always find the latest political coverage anytime. You can go to WMUR.com. You can go right inside the WMUR app and streaming on Very Local. Political Director Adam Sexton joining us once again. So Adam, just curious, have we ever seen a New Hampshire primary in recent memory like this with so many oddities on both sides?
I think it's just different, and that's been hinted at. Dr. Schrader was talking about how we essentially have two incumbent presidents here. It's for the Republicans, it's Trump. For the Democrats, it's Biden, even though he isn't on the ballot. And basically, that's shaping the dynamic of this entire race. These parties are both saying, I can't quit you to these two candidates.
Let's talk about these undeclareds, these undecided. They are notorious, and every campaign through the years tries to pour mental energy and money to try to figure out, okay, how do we get to them? So in historical experience, how do they get to them?
Right, it's like Elmer Fudd, right? He's going through there, and they're gonna find those undecided voters somewhere. Oftentimes, the undecided voters make up their own mind, right? They're very discerning. A lot of these people, sometimes they come in at the last second. Maybe it's a commercial that gets them, maybe it's an ad, but usually it's that one-on-one connection with the candidate. They're there at an event at the last second. Maybe they saw the debate, not this time around, or they just managed to find a way to get in front of these people and make their decision. Now, at this point now, only two candidates left, right? So really it's binary. And so maybe you'll see some undeclared voters just say one or the other. And, Trump has a lot of support among independents. So does Haley, obviously coming in there with more of the more moderate and left-leaning independents. But you also have some who might say, you know what, I'm just going to sit this one out because I don't like either of them. And that's what happens sometimes when you get down to this either-or kind of race, that maybe there is a candidate they really wanted and they're not there anymore.
So to that end, the turnout question becomes really interesting to watch to see, is there that fatigue in some ways?
You know what? That's going to be the big question mark to see what happens, because I think there are still a lot of people who are interested and excited in politics in 2024, but we don't know what is going to happen because this hasn't happened in so long.
Right.
We're going to be writing the book as we go on Tuesday.
I think there's a lot that will be learned, either for future reference, because we certainly don't know the way things will go for New Hampshire in 2028, but how to maybe perhaps prevent some of this from ever happening again.
I'm excited and interested to see what happens here and in the future, because the New Hampshire primary is a dynamic institution and it is always changing.
Perfect note to leave this on. Thank you for being here with us tonight, everybody.
Good night.